Okay, welcome to Cryptic Cruciverbalism. We're going to solve this week's quick cryptic. That's the Guardian's fairly new and fairly straightforward cryptic crossword. Great for beginners, great for learners, or just great to kind of start the week with a bit of a softer crossword. Let's give it a bash. Okay, so upset by some odd picks being distributed. So distributed sounds like it could be an anagram indicator. If you look at the numbers of letters we've got here, odd picks being is too many, but some odd picks is about the right. So 4, 7, 11. So let's use the anagram helper. We're going to use the letter sum odd picks, and we can guess that the straight part is probably upset or potentially distributed, because upset could also be an anagram indicator. So let's take a look. Okay, so when I'm looking at this, if I'm looking at a word like distributed or upset, which either of those could be the straight part, I'd probably put sized or ized at the end, just looking at some of the letters, but I'll shuffle it around a little bit more. So, not seeing something jump out at me, so let's start again. Let's put some odd picks and then stick some letters in. So let's say it's going to end in SED. Could be CISED, but let's just leave it like that for now. So some odd picks, shuffle that around. Upset, it could be D something ized. I quite like that. Not seeing this jump out to me at the moment. So let's go to the next clue. Quite like to get this one across, because I think that would get a lot of starting letters in for other clues. So let's get this one down. Worshipped, going up and down. So going up and down means that it is probably a palindrome. So could be devoted. Maybe not, but it could be D something, which fits for our some odd picks, because there's a D in some odd picks. So let's take a punt that it does start with D. Let's get another down clue. So fiber from ragged sails. Ragged sounds like it could be an anagram indicator. The word from could also mean that it's a hidden word. So what could we have for sails? Let's shuffle that and take a look. Could be a fiber. Doesn't jump out at me. Let's shoot for something else. Excavator, excavating concealed mineral aggregate. So concealed might indicate that it's a hidden word, and just looking here I can see O-R-E, and that's a mineral aggregate. So let's put that in. That's ore. So the straight part is mineral aggregate. The cryptic part is that we've got concealed, so a hidden word inside these two words here, and the whole clue kind of sits together and parses quite nicely. Take a look at 4 down. Person thumbing lift, so just reading that I immediately think hitcher. Taking the top off for quiet vessel, so a vessel could be pitcher, and quiet could be P for piano. So if we've got P for piano, so that's a very common kind of code word. P for piano, if you don't know, is piano in music, means quiet. And then a vessel could be a pitcher. So actually looking at how this all works together, it's not hitcher. It's a person who's thumbing a lift is a hitcher. If we take the top off hitcher, we're taking the first letter, the top, which is the H, which leaves us with itcher, and we're putting quiet on there as well, and that gives us our vessel. So one across is looking like it could be getting a little bit easier to solve now. Let's go back to the anagram helper and just see if my brain is woken up yet for anagrams. So distributed or upset, it could be decomposed, I wonder, for upset. Maybe not. I think we can put the ED at the end. I think we can be pretty sure that's there, because the word is upset or the word is distributed, so there's a pretty good chance it's going to end in ED. Let's try again. So we've got some odd picks. take a look at that. This is not jumping out at me today. Never mind, let's take a look at some more down clues. So stories from north and south. Stories could be something like news. The reason that jumps out at me as north and south is an N and an S. News is often also kind of, we sometimes mess around that word when you have points. So points north, east, south, west, and you can get the word news from that. Stories from north and south. What could that be? It could be tales, just thinking about words for stories, or epics. And then from north and south might be indicating that it could be going up and down, so it could be read both ways. Or it could just be a word that means from, and then N and S, meaning north and south, like yarns or something like this. It's not jumping out at me, so let's go to the next one. Swine losing head. So immediately that makes me wonder if it's a word for a swine, like a pig, or an unpleasant person with the head taken off. Giving diamonds in mine. So what could that be? Doesn't jump out at me, so let's push on a little bit. Examine. Martin's peck twitches partially. So partially immediately makes me think that it could be a hidden word. We've got a T and an E here, and there's a T and an E here. So we see the hidden word inspect. So inspect, and that gives us that's a synonym for examine. So examine is the straight part. So just kind of summarizing this clue, straight part is examine, inspect, and then partially indicates our kind of cryptic part of the clue, which is that it's a hidden word and it's hidden inside there. I'm going to take the deitize. I'm going to take this out for now, and we'll come back to it. I'm still wondering if it's potentially a palindrome. Let's go to the next one, 8 across, which is nice and short. Joke back and forth. Again, looks like we might be having a palindrome of some kind. Or if not a palindrome, it's a word for a joke when it's read forwards, or it's a word for a joke when it's read backwards. Not jumping out at me, so let's push on. Win LA cocktail for relative. Okay, cocktail jumps out at me as an anagram indicator, especially because these 5 letters kind of just look a little bit forced or weird. And I can quickly see the anagram, it's in law. So let's put that in law. We've got a couple of first letters, so let's take a look at these. A special envoy holding beer. So special beer could be ale, A-L-E. A special envoy. So an envoy could be, what we might be looking at here is something that means a special envoy. And we're seeing A for one of these things, a special envoy, and L-E maybe being some kind of abbreviation for a special envoy, like a diplomat or something. Let's take a punt that it is indeed L-E, and maybe come back to this one. Let's look at 11 down. So feel raw about financial support. Again, we've got 7 letters here. There's a W in these 7 letters. I can see a W at the beginning, and the word about could be an anagram indicator, and it jumps out at me as welfare. So let's take a look at that. What else have we got? So 15 across. If it is ale, we're going to be starting with an L. Plane going east or west. So it looks like, again, we're getting a kind of there's a theme of palindromes in this clue. So if you plane something, you level it, and it going east or west indicates that we've got a palindrome, so that fits quite nicely. Let's take a look at 12 across. A hospital displacing new unpleasant rash. The unpleasant rash feels a little bit like misdirection. I wonder if the straight part is rash just on its own. Hospital displacing new, maybe it's a word for a hospital where we displace N for new. Again, not jumping out at me, so let's continue for this one. 18 across. So lift, Aries, Badly's often an anagram indicator. We've got Aries as a kind of strange word in the middle of this clue, which feels a bit forced. So an anagram of Aries could be raise, and that gives us the straight part lift. So let's go for that. Okay, we're getting some more letters in this nice short clue. Let's take a look. In the manner of Parisian, going both ways. So there's a couple of things going on here that jump out. So going both ways, we've clearly got this theme of palindromes, or clues that can be read both ways. So if we were to just put the letter in, it would be à la. À la fits for the straight part, in the manner of. So if I do something à la, I don't know, whoever it might be, Alex Honnold, then I'm doing it without ropes, so in the manner of. Parisian going both ways. So of Parisian could be à la, it's just a little bit of French. Every so often in these crosswords you might find in the manner of Parisian, or as French, or Spanish, and it's not normally going to be asking for lots of general knowledge on the language, but it might be common short words like la or de, or for Spanish it might be los or el or something like this, so that's fairly common. We've still got this hospital displacing new unpleasant rash, not really sure, so we'll come back to that later. Got another first letter in on 19, so I'll have a look at that. Speak without love initially for one annoyed. Okay, so we start with I, it's 5 letters. Annoyed makes me wonder if it's irate, if I just jump out of this. Speak without love initially. Again, looking at the mechanics, speak could just be a word for speak, like say. When it says without love, it could mean missing an O, so love being 0 in tennis, which is a very common mechanic for clues. So it could be a word for speak, missing an O for love, or it could be a word for speak missing an L because it's love initially. When we say without, it could be that it's missing that letter, or without could be around, so around the side of it. This doesn't jump out at me either, so I'm going to go on to the next clue that looks nice, which is 20. It's only 3 letters. Acted from both sides. Okay, we see the same pattern. It's going to be a palindrome, and if you acted, you did something. Pursue weirdo gathering boxes. So this is an interesting one. So if you pursue someone, you dog them, and I can see the letters D-O-G are in there. So we've got boxes indicating that the mechanic is a hidden word, and the straight part is pursue. So there we go, we've got dog. Oh, we've got a nice long clue down here, starts with G. Let's see. Cake from diner, beggar, chewed. So I can see that diner and beggar is the right number of letters to be used in an anagram. Chewed is almost certainly an anagram indicator, so the straight part is going to be some kind of cake, and I bet this is some kind of cake. I don't even really know. It could be a cake like a sweet cake, or it could be to kind of like cake something in mud if there's a bit of misdirection going on. Let's take a quick look at the anagram indicator and see if anything jumps out. Why did I say beggar chewed? Oh god, I'm just putting the wrong letters in. So we say it's diner and beggar are the letters. Let's shuffle this. Something green, something burger, something oh, we've got an I and an N and a G here, so it could be what is it, sort of present continuous, like to cake, to be something ing, like coating or whatever. So maybe we'll take a punt and say that it ends in ing. I think that's unlikely because that would mean 19 ends in I, but why not? We'll have a quick look. So diner and beggar. No, doesn't look like it's jumping out at me. So far finding this quite hard, not the easy start to a Monday I was expecting. Dambra failing to provide life-saving support. So Dambra just kind of reads a bit funny, which makes me feel that as it's a bit forced, maybe it's just giving us some letters. Failing looks like an anagram indicator. So let's see, what could a life-saving support be if it is an anagram? We've got damn, bra. Band looks like it fits there, so let's put that in. Band, okay. 22 down, got the first letter in. Gang, position, dropping Juliet for Mike. Okay, so we're seeing two things jump out at me here. Juliet and Mike are both used in sort of phonetic alphabets. I don't know if it's NATO or not, so Juliet could well be J and Mike could well be M. So a gang could be the straight part. That sounds fairly likely. Maybe a mob or something like that. What else have we got? Position, dropping Juliet for Mike. So this might mean that what we've got is a word for position and we drop a J in it and swap it with an M. And that seems to fit because what we've got here as a straight part potentially is mob. So if you gang someone, if you gang up on someone, you mob them or cover them with something. How does it work? The word position could mean job, and we're going to drop the J in job for an M, those alphabet letters. So we get mob. What else have we got? What's looking possible? Okay, 17 down, we've got a D in the middle. D is quite a useful letter. Expand, new ID, England embraces. So embraces could mean a hidden word. New ID looks a bit forced, and there's that nice D that we had. Widen seems to fit quite well, and widen would work for the word expand. So the straight part is expand, and we've got a hidden word with embraces being the hidden word indicator. Looking at 16 across, it kind of looks like it would have to be something like jewels, so let's see what we've got. Drying cloth initially, replaced by old penny for peg. Okay, so peg has a capital P. I think that's a bit of misdirection. I think it's probably that peg is the straight part. The reason I think that is I just see peg and think what we could have here is dowel as like a wooden peg. So let's see how this could fit. So we've got drying cloth initially, replaced by old penny. Okay, so let's say that the initially means first letters. So drying cloth, we'll just kind of put those in as DC. Now we've got replaced by old penny for peg. Okay, so cloth initially could be C, replaced by old, which is O. So maybe we're getting somewhere here. Penny for peg. Penny is also often D. Is it often D? No, D is shilling. I'm trying to think of those old-fashioned words for English currency. So drying cloth initially, replaced by old penny. Okay, so how about this? Let's say that it's a drying cloth. The word, we're looking for a word that means drying cloth, and then this initially replaced is suggesting that we're going to replace the first letter. So a drying cloth could be a towel, like that, and then if we replace the initial, the first letter, with an old penny, we're going to get dowel. So an old penny, I guess, is a D. I think like back in the day, you know, if something was 23 pennies, it might be 23D, something like that, I think. And that's a fairly common bit of misdirection in crosswords. So, worshipped, going up and down, yeah, so it could be deified. So we have got that palindrome indicator kind of going up and down, and that's a nice palindrome. This is turning into a really good crossword so far. I like the theme of palindromes. Not only does it show you some quite nice interesting words, but also kind of once you've got a couple of letters in, you can take a punt and see if you can get the rest of it. 23 across just looks like it's gingerbread. A bit of right brain observation going on there. I think it's the left brain that tends to look at things in detail, and the right brain that tends to look at things in surroundings and try and find patterns. So your right brain is very good when it comes to solving crosswords, and your left brain tends to not actually be so good, because a lot of the time you're not looking for, say, a literal translation, you're looking for some kind of more, I don't know, metaphorical translation. Left brain doesn't deal as well with metaphor and kind of unusual associations. That's what the right brain's good at, apparently. 19 down, so speak without love initially for one annoyed. So annoyed really sounds like it should be irate. So how are we going to get this all together? So one annoyed without love initially. So are we missing an L from a word that means speak? Is it something to alliterate? I am not sure at all. So I'm going to leave this out for now. I'm going to come back to it later, because this one is feeling a little bit tricky. Had wife leaving for Yankee surrendered. Ooh, so what have we got here? Yankee, again, if we think about the phonetic alphabet, could be a Y. Had wife leaving. So what could wife be? Maybe it could be something like W. I think you might see W in genealogy, perhaps. I'm not sure. Anyway, let's take a look at what straight part could be. If the straight part is surrendered, then we're looking for past tense, which could fit here. So it could be ed or something like that. Surrendered, what could surrender be? It could be yielded or something like this. Not jumping out at me. So let's go back to some of the other clues. Let's go to one across and see if we can get this anagram. So some odd picks. Let's distribute this. D something sounds like it should be what we're looking for. This one is just not jumping out at me. The letters are spread across two lines. I'm going to put D in for now. I'm going to take another look at number 2. So fiber from ragged sails. Okay, I mean, what have we got this? Fiber, a sail or something? Let's do the anagram helper. Sails. Shuffle that. Sizzle? Not sure. A sail? Don't know either. So I think I'm only going to get this answer when I get the first letter in it. I'm just going to have to take a punt at what it is. Maybe it's a word that I don't know. Let's go back to 12 across, as we've got some letters in that. So hospital, displacing new unpleasant rash. What could a rash be? Some kind of itch or irritation. Again, not jumping out at me. Let's take a look at this. Joke back and forth. Oh, come on. So we know it's almost certainly a palindrome. What could a joke be? A jest, a lark. I'm not sure. And then swine losing head for diamonds in mine. What could a swine be? A sow. A pig. So what else have we got? Boar. Could it be a hidden word? Swine losing head for diamonds. Maybe then what we're saying is that we're going to take away the head of a word for swine and put D for diamonds in there. I think we had that mechanic a little bit earlier on, the changing the head. So let's say a swine is a pig, and let's lose it. Let's take its head away and swap it for diamonds, so we get dig. Okay, here we go with the joke back and forth, gag. Don't think my brain is working particularly well right now. Stories from north and south. Okay, we're getting this together now. Sagas, so it's another palindrome. We've got the C here. So a hospital and a new unpleasant rash. Okay, so we've seen displacing, or we've seen, what did we have up here? Losing head. So I wonder if displacing is another mechanic where we're changing some words around. I think this has to get finished because it's kind of driving me a bit crazy. How many E's have we got? We've got one E only, so I think this E I've put here is maybe a bad punt because I'm pretty sure the E is going to have to go there. So let's see what we've got. Some odd picks. Shuffle this around. After the P, it could only be an I or an O, I think, so something posed at the end. I'm just going to make life easy for myself and put O's at the end. We've got two O's in the anagram letters, so looks like it should be alright. Let's do the anagram helper, some odd picks. I'm going to make the screen a bit smaller, that might help get the letters on the same line. It doesn't. Discomposed. Oh dear, how did I struggle so much to get that? Okay, so we've got fibre from ragged sails. I'm just going to have to take a guess that it's sil. It could be sisal. I don't know. When we get the crossword finished off, we'll look at this one up. Rash. So what could a rash be? It could be some kind of skin rash, or it could be being kind of careless. So what else have we got to look at? Hospital, displacing, new, unpleasant. What could a hospital be? Not sure. It's getting pretty close now. So maybe let's go back to this one. So had wife leaving for Yankee, surrendered. So what have we got here? Had with the wife leaving for Yankee. I wonder if what we've got is a word for had that has a W in it, and maybe the W is being replaced with a Y, and that gives us a synonym for surrendered. So surrendered being the straight part. So if we're going to assume that, then we've probably got a word that has a Y in it rather than a W. So I think it is yielded, because what jumps out at me here is that it could well be wielded, which was had, and then you have W for wife being surrendered or replaced with Y for Yankee. So we're seeing that same phonetic alphabet thing here. Casey, cozy, what have we got here? We've got here, that's the challenge, I can't spell, so pitched is spelled CH, not HE. It's always worth double checking when a clue feels hard whether you've actually got the right letters in, which I didn't hear. So hospital, displacing, new, unpleasant, rash. So hospital could well just be H. And if what we're saying, we've seen this mechanic a lot in this crossword, which is displacing or words similar to that, meaning kind of replacing letters. So maybe what we've got is a word for unpleasant, with an H replacing the N. So unpleasant could be nasty, so let's put that in, nasty. And if we were to replace the N in nasty, so N for new, then we would have H for hospital. I wonder where N for new comes from. Hospital is often H, maybe it's on maps and things like that, you commonly see this, but I'm not sure where N for new comes from. Maybe that's something I'll have to look up. And what we're left with is this irate. So speak without love initially. So love initially could be L, or we could be seeing love initially as being an L, and when we've got 4 here, perhaps we're replacing it with 1, which could be I. So what else have we got? one annoyed, annoyed, which we think is the straight part, or I think is the straight part. So I'm going to put annoyed here. If I'm annoyed, I'm irate. So what have we got? We've got one, which could be A, or it could be, so it could be A, the letter A for one. It could be I, the letter I, which looks like the digit 1. We could have an O or an L here. So let's just drop a few letters in for now so that we can kind of play around with this. I'm just going to do this in this section here. So we've got the word irate, and we've also got maybe an L, an O for love, or an L for love, an I or an A. So what have we got here? Speak without love initially for 1, annoyed. Okay, I'm gonna pause while I have a bit of a think. Okay, so I'm back. I've got an idea for a mechanic, but it feels really hard. What I was wondering, and I've been looking at this for the last 5 minutes, is could speak be something like prattle? So if speak was prattle, let me just clear some space down here so we can take a look at that together. So if speak was the word prattle, let's take a look at that. If we were to take away love initially, we could be taking away the E. Where were we? Speak without love initially. So we're taking away L for love initially, and then 1 annoyed. No, I don't get it. So let's put gingerbread back in, reveal this, and see if we can work out what's going on with these clues. So we've got 2 things here. We've got irate and sassil, and we're on Cryptic 31. So let's see if we can work out what irate is all about. So I'm going to look it up on 15 squared. This is also just useful to know how to take a look at clues that you don't get right. And let's search for irate. So let's see the details. It's a first letter replacement, O or rate, speak without O for love, okay, replaced by I. So we kind of had a lot of the mechanics there. We knew it was swapping out the first letter or head letter. I just missed speak. It's lunchtime, I can't blame Monday morning stuff on this, so just not with it today. What about sassil? Was I right with sassil? No. So was it sisal? Could have been the other word for a fibre. Okay, so fibre from ragged sails was indeed sisal, and a grind of sisal. Sisal is a fibre that makes old-fashioned ropes, amongst other things. That's really interesting. I've not seen that before. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to add this to my own personal dictionary. I maintain a dictionary of words I've learned through Crosswords, and I'm building a little app that lets me test myself on those words, because I like to make absurdly over-the-top lists and systems to try and organise a chaotic universe. I'll show you how I manage my dictionary and these things in another video another time. So I'm just going to copy that to my clipboard. I'm going to go back to Crossword. So here it is. This was Guardian Cryptic Crossword 31. I'll be honest, I found this really hard today. Normally I finish this one in 10 minutes over a quick cup of tea. But this was great. We had a lot of palindromes, which was really fun. We had a lot of demonstrations of the mechanic of swapping out parts of a word, like the head of a word. Hope you enjoyed this solve. This is the first video on this channel I'm playing around with, and see you next time.